Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot tonight. I had my chicken queued up by accident. How's everyone doing tonight? Steven, Charlie, Mitt, Joseph, Joe, NY Sports MC, Jet Nation, Gaming, Lion. What's good, boys? Justin Levine, Joseph Purdy. Again, what's good, boys? Good to have you in the chat. Good to be talking some football again. I missed you since last week. I've been busy with the new puppy, Bolly, and work and everything that's been going on. Matt, what's up, dude? Thank you guys for tuning in. Got a lot to talk about. We have the Jets. As of last stream, the Jets had gotten $11 million back from Tremaine Johnson and cutting him. And we will also have a little bit of discussion about some of the current events going on around the country and around the world. I want to talk about Drew Brees. I want to talk about the anthem and then some of the kneeling. It's not something that I've touched on before on this channel. It's, things that are overly polarizing. I tend to maybe not so much dive into, but I think this is an important topic, and I want to hear your guys' opinions on it and how you guys feel one way or the other on everything going on in the world. For me, I am very much the kneeling. For me, it wasn't as big of a deal when it first started, I guess, because I guess when Kaepernick started that, I think in preseason is when that began in 2016, and when Trump came out and kind of made the statement about it. I believe he was in Alabama when he made that statement, and the NFL shouldn't let these guys out on the field for protesting and kind of voicing their opinion. And the popular rhetoric is that Colin Kaepernick was blackballed from the NFL, and I do think that he definitely was to an extent. I don't think he lost a starting job because of everything with the kneeling. But I do think that teams did not want to bring him in as a backup because of the polarization surrounding the kneeling of the anthem and how fans would react. I don't believe that's right or wrong. I commend him for at least kind of sticking to his guns and at least supporting something that he believes in. And I think by and large, regardless of how you feel, I think he brought a lot of attention to a topic. Certainly a whirlwind either way as far as, standing for the anthem. And Drew Brees came out and said that he was against, kneeling for the anthem. He's very much on board with, when I hear the anthem, I think of all the veterans. I think of my grandfather and whatnot serving. And this is, you got to stand for the anthem. And he received a ton of hate from around the league and around everything everywhere around the media. And I don't necessarily think that his viewpoint is wrong. I think there's, certainly the, wanting to stand for the anthem, I think is a perfect. You're not wrong for wanting to stand for the anthem, and I think having those beliefs is absolutely fair. I think it's all right to have that. I do think the timing was incredibly horrible, and I shouldn't kind of chuckle at that, because he needs to. He issued an apology, and then the main gist of the ending was, I've done a lot of talking. I need to do more listening, and I think that's important. I think that's whether you feel that was a genuine apology or just like the hate that he kind of got on social media sort of triggered that apology. Either way, any of the ad revenue that comes from this video or the super chats that we get in the video, I will donate 100% of it to a charity associated with the New York Jets. I was thinking of New York City United Way, but if you guys have another charity that you think I could support, absolutely comment on it. Put it in the actual comment section, not in the chat, because the chat I sometimes miss stuff. I'll catch it in the comment section. But we'll donate 100% of everything from this stream to a local charity. So guys, I want to hear your opinions on the kneeling. Are you for it, against it? Are you what are your opinions on the matter overall? And then we'll also talk about the salary cap, because obviously we cut Jermaine Johnson. We gained $11 million in salary cap. I believe the Jets are fifth most in salary cap right now. I think that's what I've seen. And there's still a few big free agents out there. You have Jadeveon Clowney, who I don't particularly want, but he plays a position that I like. I want an edge rusher. Everson Griffin, Vinny Curry are both out there. Other options for the New York Jets. You have Logan Ryan, Larry Warford. There's a lot of players. Jason Peters still out there that you could, in theory, bring in if you're the New York Jets. I want to say, what's the actual over the cap amount? I think we're at $25 million. I want to say that was kind of where the cap space was last I saw. Jets are fifth. We're sitting just under $25 million, so we're at $24.7 million in cap space. The Browns have the most with 37, Redskins with 36, Lions with 29, Eagles with 24-7, Jets with 24-7, Bengals with 24. So Jets have enough money to make some potentially interesting moves. I think Logan Ryan might be the one that a lot of guys tend to lean towards, because we do need cornerback help. I would like an edge rusher. I don't particularly want to see Larry Warford. Not that I dislike him. I just think we put a lot of resources into the offensive line already, and I would like to see us address maybe some of our weaker areas along the defensive side of the ball, and that would be a Logan Ryan or a Vinny Curry, an Everson Griffin. A player of that mold, I think, would help jettison this team into a very favorable situation. What do we got going on? We're going to do the same thing we do every week, guys. Starting at 8:30, I'm going to get your comments and questions and everything you guys want to talk about for tonight. What do you think about the Jets, the season? It sounds like Murphy, our governor, he's optimistic that fans could be in the stands come September. That's going to be huge for the Jet fans and football fans in general, but he would not, comment definitely that they would be in the stands. And he wouldn't comment on what kind of capacity. We could see 25%, 50%. I think Texas has allowed 50% of their stadiums to be filled, which is probably higher than I think a lot of other people may have thought the threshold would be. But I'm glad we could see something that high. Go for it. I want to see fans in the stands. It's very weird to not see fans in the stands. That said, does say 50% or 25% of the fans in the stands, whatever it winds up being, what does that look like? Is it the PSL holders? I think they should get the first dibs at things. They're paying a lot of money to own that personal seat license. They should get the first dibs at the tickets, regardless of what it is. Then I think the next batch should be season ticket holders that may not be paying PSLs. Then I think you open it up to the public at that point. I would like to see them not allow resale on these tickets. I think if you are a fan and you're reselling your ticket when there's such a limited quantity and you're trying to make money on it, that feels wrong to me. Now, if you pay the PSL and all of a sudden you can't go to a game and it's later in the season, I don't think you should lose money on that. But I think you should be able to opt into maybe selling it back to the Jets, and the Jets can sell that ticket from there. And that's like, I maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You guys could let me know what you think on how the Jets stadium plans could work. Apparently, everyone is allowed to resume their training camps, but it has to be at your own facility. So, like when the Jets were going up to Cortland, not that they do that anymore, but if the Jets had to go to, were going to Cortland, they would not be allowed to. They'd have to stay in Florham Park, where they are going to practice year-round. So, guys, we have so much to talk about. Could we talk about Jamal Adams? Do you want to talk about COVID? Do you want to talk about some of the kneeling and the anthem and stuff like that? Do you want to talk about salary cap? We can talk about all this different stuff. I will be pushing you guys over to Twitch, so if you want to follow me on Twitch, I will pick one of my followers on Twitch to win a hat, shirt, or mug at the end of this stream. So follow me on Twitch, add me as a friend if you want a chance to win a hat, shirt, or mug from the Jets Talk store. I also want to announce next week, the 15th, I will be having Connor Rogers on the show with me. He'll be joining the cockpit. He's going to come on for like half hour, 45 minutes or so. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'll get to ask him a bunch of questions. If you guys have a lot of questions that you'd like to see asked, I'm not going to be taking phone calls during that segment, but if you want to put your comments in, or put your questions in the comments, that'll be something cool that I could look over and give you some material to try and ask him. For those of you that don't know, Connor Rogers works for Bleacher Report. He is a very knowledgeable NFL analyst or NFL aficionado. So I think that's going to be a fun interview and a fun conversation to have. I look forward to having him on the channel. A lot of you guys thinking maybe 25% capacity. Only football, says Steven. Do you think we should auction tickets? I don't think you should auction tickets. That feels like a money grab, and that kind of feels wrong based on the circumstances that are kind of surrounding the team. You don't want to like price gouge people. That's a little rough. I do understand why the price of tickets could go higher than normal, but I just think that the NFL is such a money-making machine that if you try to do that in that type of environment, I understand like a restaurant maybe charging more for an entree, or a business has to raise prices a little bit to make ends meet. I think that's fine. The NFL, I don't think needs to make ends meet, so I'd be a little sour on if they tried to auction it and make as much money as possible. Zachary, good question, asking, is there going to be college football? That I do not know, because it's a collegiate sport and there's no money involved for the players. Like, yes, the schools are going to try and have these games played, and even if they're played with no fans, same as the NFL, I think they're going to try and do it. I think they're going to use the players' eligibility for their final NFL or final college season. I think that's what they're going to use when they discuss college football, and they're not going to bring up we want to make our millions and millions of dollars. And for me, what I see in college and what I see in the pros is you are exploiting players for financial gain. And yes, they do get an education, but I think that is largely not relevant. Like, I think a lot of those guys are pushed through their collegiate programs and really are never going to use their college degree that they wind up getting. Now, some guys go back to school. We saw DeBrickshaw Ferguson go back to school, get his degree. I think that's really cool. I'm all for that, and having guys like actually have a career outside of football when all is said and done. Chloe says, have you seen the new end zones at MetLife? I have not. I have not seen the new end zones, so I do not know what they look like. What do they look like? You can comment and let me know. Edward says, death penalty for scalpers. Yeah, no, you don't want to see people hike prices. That seems like it's pretty bad. Evan says, let's get this to 100 likes. I would love to get 100 likes. We got 19 likes on this video right now, but we'll see. It's the off season. The off season is a little tough. I know you guys. Thank you for tuning in with me. It's such a fun time of year because we get a little bit more of an intimate conversation. We don't have the 200 or 300 people in the chat like we did in the off season during free agency and the draft. So if you guys have anything you want to talk about, this is probably the time to call in. I apologize. I don't have my private line hooked up right now because I figured I'll do a little monologue for 10 minutes and then we'll jump into some calls. What are you guys talking about in there? Mims looked kind of slow in the videos I watched. You're talking about when he was in shorts and a t-shirt or whatever, catching balls. I can't wait to watch Mims play. I'm very excited. King Blaze, what's up? I would like to tell my moderators, so Justin and whoever else is in there that I can't see right now, any of my moderators, I would like you to remove any kind of hate speech from the chat. I haven't seen anything popped up. Everyone seems, pretty fine for the most part. So, but just keep an eye out if we start talking about the anthem and things start getting a little dicey. Just feel free to mute that person. I'm all for conversation, but I just want it to be civil conversation. I don't want to see people going crazy on stuff. If you guys have not followed me on Twitch, there is a link in the description down below to my Twitch channel. I'm trying to simulcast there, Facebook, and YouTube to try and grow the platform a little bit, try and grow the show. So if you would give me a follow on Twitch, I will raffle off someone that is in my Twitch friends and followers, and they will get a hat, shirt, or mug from the Jets Talk store. Do you think it is possible to get Juju? Asks Slinger. I really like Juju. I didn't like him last year because he was on my fantasy team and he ruined it. I drafted him in like the last part of the first round, and I came back and I drafted Odell because I was at like pick 12 or 11, and I really got screwed. But I would like him on the Jets. I would like to see that because maybe, who knows, maybe Perriman does not work out. We only have him on a 1-year deal. I think Crowder's going to be here beyond this year. Mims. Hey, chew. Oh, God bless me. Whew, sorry. I like Mims. He's going to be here a long time. Crowder, I think, is going to be here beyond this year. Herndon, I think, at the very least, will play this season. Hopefully, he's not cut after this year. I really like Herndon, so I think he's going to be really good. I think... God, you don't know. It depends what we'd have to give up for Juju. If we have to trade for Juju, I don't really want Juju. I think Sam is going to be very good throwing to receivers that are just NFL caliber receivers. I don't need to have like super crazy studs all over the place. Bless you. Thank you. Thank you. That's a little Quinnen Williams reference to my sneeze, as well as the COVID references in there. You need to bless yourself and thank yourself, says Dennis D. I haven't started my first fantasy draft yet. Says invalid. What are you talking about? You haven't started your first fantasy draft yet. Well, yeah, it's not even July, it's June. Don't draft your teams until the end of August or whenever the season is about to start. You don't want to see anyone get hurt and then get screwed. Slinger says trade May for Juju. That's something that we brought up a little while ago. I'm okay with that. I don't know if that's really a fair deal, if the Steelers want that. They just got Minkah Fitzpatrick last year. And I think Juju's better than May right now. Anyway, now maybe because he had a slightly down year last year, even though it was that Big Ben, maybe that means his value's not as high. I think he's pretty good receiver. So we'll see. Check your Twitter. I sent you a picture of the end zones. Okay, let me check my Twitter. Let's check it out. Let's see what we got. Boom. Ooh, I like the new end zones. That's nice. The Jets end zones. I don't remember what it looked like last year, but I remember it being really ugly. Like, pretty disappointed with how it was looking. But that looks really cool. That's how the end zones are going to look. I'm pretty pumped. For those of you that don't know, I'll see if I could make it big on the screen, see if you guys could see that. Yeah, you guys aren't going to be able to see that. No. Yeah, looks pretty good. Pretty cool. Way better than how I remember it looking last year. So kudos to whoever designed the end zone. King Blaze, if no Warford, then why not trade for Thuney? Pats have little cap space because there's no way the Patriots are going to trade the Jets a very good player. I would be very, very surprised if that were to ever happen. In this day and age, I think Thuney is not coming to the Jets because they're going to want something really good for him in return. Plus, they're going to have a young quarterback. And with any young quarterback, you want to have a good offensive line. Something that the Jets know a whole lot about. We had a terrible offensive line last year, and you have to protect your quarterback. Let's see. Tyler asks, Ryan, do you see us taking Jeffrey? What are you talking about, taking Jeffrey? Jeffrey who? You talking about in next year's draft? I have not looked at any of the players, so I apologize. I'm not going to try and speculate on anything for next year's draft, but I do think it's going to be a corner or an edge rusher early on. Steal the rookies when they get added. I steal the rookies when they get added. What are you talking about? Fantasy draft? If you could cut Crowder after next year, you save $10 million. Yes. So if you like whoever is in the slot, you could keep them, but $10 million for Crowder isn't like absurd. I mean, it's higher maybe than you would like, but I don't think it's anything crazy that you'd go cutting someone. Like I think C.J. Mosley is getting $17 million and Avery Williamson's getting like $8 million or so. So I don't see the Jets being too stingy on money unless they need it. If they need it to pay Jamal, then yeah, I think you probably cut Crowder and you figure out another slot that you could draft in the draft next year. Why would the Pats trade Thuney in conference? I don't think that's going to happen. Who disliked this video? Says Evan. I don't know. There's always someone that dislikes it. It's okay. You can hate this video. Doesn't bother me any. Helps me decide what I should and shouldn't talk about. King Blaze says he likes Crowder. C.J. Mosley has to return healthy. I hope he returns healthy. If Perriman gets around 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, how much money would you give him? Ooh, that's a good question. If he gets 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, I would give him probably a 1-year deal for $13 million, maybe $12 million. If he does 10 touchdowns, 1,000 yards, and then you gamble one more year, you say like, hey, you overpay him. You're going to have to overpay him on 1 year if he puts up those kind of numbers, because I don't think you trust him on a big term, like a big contract, after only putting up one season like that. So that's sort of where I feel that falls out. Second dislike. That's all right. Third. Enough tanking. NY Sports MC, who do you have as our starting guards? I want it to be Clark and Van Roten. I would prefer a healthy Winters and Van Roten starting. I don't want Lewis starting. He commits too many penalties. I assumed Lewis would be starting. I think they want Clark to be the long-term answer at the left guard position, or any guard position for that matter. And I think Van Roten was obviously brought in to start. I don't know what's going on with him. He feels like he should probably be cut, and I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We don't have any timetable to cut him. It's not like the contracts we had earlier in the year that had like cap ramifications if we did not cut them early enough. We could cut him at training camp and it would be fine and save all that money. JetLife45 says Perriman with 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns should get 3 years, $36 million. I'd do that if he wants $12 million a year. Now that's also really high for just 1 year of production. So I would probably, if I knew I could get that production, that's a very reasonable deal. I don't know if I could trust him to get that production. I would prefer like a 1 year, $13 million deal, or a 1 year, I don't want to go 14 because that's starting to get a little high. But if you could do a 1 year contract on a prove-it deal that could earn him a big, longer contract, I think that's reasonable. King Blaze, Sam is accurate, and if you have good hands, then those numbers are possible. Yeah, I think the Jets, let me see if I can find the statistic. It was like really screwy for the Jets, and the number of wide receivers that Sam has had. I think he's had 15 wide receivers, and like 8 are not in the NFL or on an NFL roster. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the actual tweet. I think it was a tweet. If you could find it, let me know. It was a really interesting. Bills fan forever, of course. Come strolling in. Got to have the Bills fans and the Dolphins fans wind up coming in the chat. But that's okay. I still value your opinion, even if I think you're wrong. Jared the Goat. Allen isn't even the best Josh Allen isn't even the best Josh Allen. That's fair. Josh Allen, the pass rusher, 10 sacks might be a little more impressive than the quarterback play from Josh Allen right now. We'll see. Getting to the playoffs is probably a little more important than whatever Josh Allen in Jacksonville wound up actually doing. Invalid. I called it. It was a Bills fan, of course. Perriman is going to be number 1 wide receiver. I hope so. I hope he's going to be number 1 wide receiver. He says that's FM in disguise, says Adam. What is your prediction for Bell with the improved line? I'm going with 1,100 yards rushing, 300 receiving. Bell is going to be 28 years old, I believe, this season. I'm going to say a good year from him. If we can get 1,000 yards and like 400 yards receiving, that would be really big. Or like I said 1,400 yards total was kind of my spot on prediction for him, which is exactly what you're saying. And I think that's a successful year. If you get that and maybe like 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, I think that's a successful year for Bell. I don't think it's $15 million a year successful, so I think he's never going to live up to that contract, but I do think that would be a very good year for the Jets and Sam Darnold, given the competition that they're going to have to face with this year's schedule. What position is still our weakest? Asks Stuart. Stuart, I believe edge rusher at this point, because we have a lot of unproven guys. We have some hope with some of the guys we drafted this year and undrafted free agents. I think from a overall team perspective, it's edge rusher and cornerback. So cornerback, we have the veterans that are kind of like second-tier guys. On the edge rushing side of things, we have the rookies that are unproven. So they're definitely weak. I think one of those two positions are absolutely going to be our number one pick next year in the draft, and that'll wind up being addressed that way. PS5 or Xbox Series X. I'm probably going to wind up getting an Xbox. I definitely... I have an Xbox right now. I've always owned all the different systems. I've had PlayStation. I've had Xbox. I had a PlayStation 4 for a little bit. The only reason I got Xbox and Xbox Live is because a lot of my friends have Xbox that I don't get to see, so it helps me stay in contact with them a little bit easier. Some of the guys I work with have PlayStation, so I could have gone that route, but I see them all the time anyway. So I'd rather... I use it as kind of a way to keep in touch with friends over the course of the off-season of golf and whatnot. All right. What should we do? Let's talk. Ryan pulls hot chicks. All right, let's open the phone lines. I'm going to open up the phone lines for you guys. We'll get your opinions on everything about what's going on in the sports world. Let me know your opinions. Anything's up for grabs. I'm willing to talk about anything you guys want to talk about tonight. Sports fan, what's up? Nice to have you. And we got our first caller.
Call from Eli.
Hey, Eli, what's up, brother?
Hey, how are you doing, Ryan?
I'm hanging in there. Not too bad. How was your weekend and everything?
It's pretty good. In quarantine, I don't have to leave the house, so it's nice.
Solid.
Well, I mean, I guess we're not in quarantine anymore, but...
Yeah,
right.
Most of us are kind of driving around at this point. I'm back to work. I've been back to work a little over a month at this point. But what's on your mind?
I wanted to ask about... Well, first thing I wanted to say really quick is about your Juju Smith-Schuster taking a lot of Jets fans want to, like, trade for him and stuff. I really don't want to do that. I think he's a very overhyped wide receiver. I think the year that yes, last year did not really have a starting quarterback, but even before that, I think he's a number 2 wide receiver. All right, and the real question here, you can.
Well, let me rebuttal the Juju comment first. I do think Juju's good. I don't know. I think you bring up a valid point. We don't know if he is a legitimate number 1 because he didn't have Big Ben, so we didn't get to see the full year of him without Antonio Brown. He shined up really bright with Antonio Brown there. He was the team MVP that last season with Brown there. But can he replicate that as the guy, especially if he's in a different system? Who knows? Now, obviously, he played together with Sam, so there's that sort of connection. I'm good with Juju, probably more as a free agent than I am with a trade. Like, for trade purposes, I'd rather a draft pick, I think, than a wide receiver. Because I think wide receiver you could probably pick up at some point, whether it be in the draft or in free agency. I think because of the way the rules are, a lot of wide receivers are kind of similar. I guess it's not a number 1 wide receiver that you'd be getting, but I do think that we can address wide receiver without necessarily trading for Juju. So what's your second question?
I wanted to ask your expectations of the offense/offensive line for this year.
Sure. Okay, so if I could, it's I guess just like you said, it's a 2-part question. So the offensive line and my offensive expectations, I really want to see Gase call better plays and see the team really understand what's going on and really feel like they have a handle on the offense. The offensive line is going to be a huge piece of that. I think if you have a top 20 offensive line, I think you'll see a big step forward from Sam. Could we see an even better offensive line than that? Sure. I don't think it'll be a top 10 offensive line, but I think 15 to 20 is reasonable for a first-year unit really altogether. I mean, you got to think none of these guys were starting for the Jets last year at the start of last season. You got Lewis that came in partway through the year, but it's going to be very interesting to see that. So I would say if you could get a top 15 to 20 offensive line, you could see the players understand the playbook a lot better, and you see Sam really start to progress. And if we get like a top 20 offense, I'd be pretty happy. If we wind up being in like a 26 ranked offense, it will give me a lot more concern in terms of Gase for year 3. I want to know what this team is after this year, whether it is Gase being terrible and he needs to get canned, or Gase playing well and we know that we're loading up for a Super Bowl run next year.
Well, like Matt O'Leary said, I think it was last week's show, right? Mm-hmm. Gase called like 52% of second and longs.
Yeah, it was like the highest most by like a long shot.
It's like you don't need a brain. Like even just like the average person, just when you think of second and long, what do? You run 52% of the time? No, I mean it's just simple facts.
Yeah, you can't run it as much as they ran it last year when you don't have a good offensive line. I understand needing to keep a defense honest. You can't exclusively pass the ball because then they're just going to pass rush you every down. But it was brutal. It was hard to watch last year. I felt like a lot of times when I watched the Jets offense, I was scratching my head, especially the Bengals game. The Bengals game where you're running right up the gut of that defense and their weak spot is on the outside. Why not utilize Bell on the outside where he is like a dominant force in that slot and out in the flat? So I am very concerned with how Gase is going to handle this offense. I am cautiously optimistic because seeing players in the second year of an offense generally bodes well. I do trust Sam. I think Sam, healthy, not with mono, is going to be a huge step forward for this team. But having the harder schedule is going to be really tough. It's going to be very interesting to kind of see. The other thing I want to see with this offense, I really want to see a lot more RPOs. We didn't get to see that last year, and I'm hoping that's because Sam had mono and they didn't want to see a ruptured spleen or have him exposed taking a big shot. But I think Sam would be very good at the run option. So hopefully we get to see that. That's what I'd like to see out of our offense this year.
He had to wear like that special gear on.
Brace.
I remember that they showed the Cowboys game that he had to wear for the rest of the season. That must have been a bit harder to play and stuff as well.
Yeah, I would have to imagine any kind of plate or brace is going to restrict your movement in some capacity. You're not going to be able to contort maybe some of the ways you might want to twist because Sam's really good at throwing off balance, and maybe some of those weird angles were affected by some rigid movement. Who knows? But I think keeping the shots and keeping the hits off of him was a very big part of last year's offense.
Because that could have ruined his complete future if he got just one bad hit like RG3, right? I mean, it just ruins his career.
Yeah, you can't have your franchise money he's the moneymaker. He's the golden boy. If you can have Sam become the franchise quarterback, that's going to set you up for the next 10, 15 years. So you need to protect him. He's like the little egg that you need to build the cardboard and the bubble wrap around and drop it off the building and hope he survives. So I'm 100% behind Sam, and I think we're going to see a big year out of him. But dude, Eli, I'm going to jump to the next caller. So thank you so much for calling in. Boom! I ejected you from the cockpit. I know you just had something to say, and I apologize. I just didn't want to go too long. For all you guys that want to be entered into win a hat, shirt, or mug from the Jets Talk store, head down into the link in my description, click on my Twitch link, add me as a friend, and follow me, and you'll be entered to win a hat, shirt, or mug from the Jets Talk store.
To accept, press 1.
Hey, what's up, Chris? How you doing?
What's going on, people? We're getting closer and closer to the NFL season and watching the Jets run this system.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. What's on your mind? What have you thought about the Jets cap space? What do you want to see them spend it on? What's your takes on, everything going on in the world of sports?
Honestly, right now, man, I'm loving it. Joe Douglas has done, by far in my mind, an exceptional run on contracts, an exceptional run on players and filling in the buckets. I love that he was straightforward on what he said he was going to do. Obviously, the biggest disappointment was losing Robbie Anderson, but he did his best to try to rekindle that position. We obviously gave him a decent grade of his draft picks, and he's being very strict with the whole Jamal Adams thing. He's like, listen, dude, I've got you for another year. I'm not going to extend your contract yet. And if you're going to be a hassle about it, don't think I'm a pushover. I'm not Mike
McCagnon.
I'm not Mike McCagnon. I'm not somebody who's just going to listen to everyone saying, oh, pay this guy, you know? So
Yeah.
I love that Joe Douglas is just stuck to his guns there.
So let's talk a little bit about Joe Douglas. And we just eclipsed his 1-year anniversary of being the Jets GM. I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago that actually was. And you look at where this team was 1 year ago today. We had just drafted players that Mike McCagnon refused to let Adam Gase talk to the scouts about. He did not want Adam Gase to create an unfair bias with the scouts. So Gase had players that he didn't necessarily want on his team because the scouts didn't, there was that little bit of a disconnect. You had no offensive line. You had a GM that did not devote any picks to the offensive line until last year, and that was Chuma Edoga in the third round, the back half of the third round. So Sam had no offensive line. He really had no weapons. We whiffed on a bunch of late-round wide receiver picks. What was it? Over the course of probably 3 years, we saw a bunch of late-round wide receivers, and none of them stuck. They were all pretty bad. We've had a lot of bad. We've had a lot of bad on the offensive side of the ball. We've seen a pretty good amount of good on the defensive side of the ball from the McCagnon era, at least to some extent. But we really saw him build it up the middle of this team. And now Douglas, his whole goal for year one, he told Sam's parents, hey, I'm going to protect your boy. I'm going to get him an offensive line. I'm going to get him weapons. So he went into this offseason. We got 2 new tackles. We got a new guard and a new center. And we're bringing back the guard that he brought in to obviously replace Osemele last year. So
yeah, I got to agree.
I like that. I like the receivers he brought in. I think Perriman plus Mims is better than Robbie plus Demaryius Thomas. Like when you kind of compare them, like I think Robbie is the better receiver of the 4 right now. I think Mims has the highest ceiling. I think Perriman has a very high ceiling, and I think that's the Demaryius Thomas thing. You were kind of the fumes in the gas tank in terms of that. Yeah. So what do you kind of think about everything?
Well, as far as again, just going off of, since you're saying this is definitely Joe Douglas's first year of anniversary with the Jets. He didn't really get much of a fair shot his last year. You obviously showed some appreciation for him trying to take care of what he could have, especially when the draft was already taken off and the previous first free agency. So all he had was what was available while everyone was playing, while the season was going. So now the question is, my viewpoint for him this year, which I'm going to really make it, this is for me, Joe Douglas' first entry. So I want to see how well did your scouts do? How well did you pay attention to the not only the stats but the type of players you recruited, and also those little hidden gems. We all talked about how we were a little surprised with Ashton Davis. So my question is, is Ashton Davis going to start this year? Is he going to study under Marcus May, because most likely that's what we're expecting to change off? I actually had a good question for you. This is just a two-parter question. The first one is, if you had to put Jamal Adams in any other position besides safety, what do you think would be the best fit? And then the second thing is, based on how let's say that our record doesn't finish well, it's a 7-9 record, and obviously at that point you expect Adam Gase to be fired, and you expect a complete sweep of the coaching staff. Who do you want to stick around? And out of both the NFL league and the college league, what spots do you fill in for those coaches? And I'm talking offense, assistant coach, defensive coach, assistant defensive coach, special teams, and finally wide receiver coach. I think that's a very important one. Thank you, man, so much. Go Jets!
Boo! Go Jets! Thank you, Chris, for calling in. And I'm going to hop off the phone lines real quick so I can try to answer that question. Okay, so he said, what position would I put Jamal Adams in if it was not safety? Some type of edge rushing capacity. I want him up around the line of scrimmage. Maybe a linebacker coming off the edge, I think, would be a fun position for him to play. I think coming after the quarterback, going after the ball carrier is really the name of his game. I don't necessarily want to see him back in coverage quite so much if I had to pick like a permanent position for him. In terms of, what was the second part of that question? The second part of that question was, what do I want for the head coaches if the season starts going south? I would say if Gase is fired, you bring in a new head coach, you let that coach decide how he wants to kind of handle the Jamal situation. I don't know if that's a Douglas decision or a new head coach combination, because maybe you do kind of what Gruden did when Gruden came in. He trades away Khalil Mack, gets as many draft picks as possible, and just starts rebuilding his team to try and build it in his image. So I could see that with a new head coach coming in. The hot names for me, I think, obviously I want to keep Greg Williams. I don't know if the Jets would give him a shot to be the head coach. I would be okay with it. I think that's an interesting situation where you change a head coach, but you don't necessarily change the culture that's been developed with the team. Like, it seems like the team really likes Greg Williams. I just don't know if he necessarily wants to do it, or if I don't know. Greg Williams would be the one coach that I would definitely hold on to. In terms of other coaches that I'd like to see potentially be either the head coach or the offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy is going to be on the short list for a lot of people. My only concern with him is he's been a hot potential candidate the last two off seasons. Why wasn't he hired? Do they believe he's just not ready? Is Andy Reid making all the magic happen in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes, and Bieniemy is kind of like getting credit just by sort of being there? That's a possibility. It seems like if the Jets could run that style of offense, I think Sam Darnold could do it. He seems like he's able to run all over the place and kind of throw from various angles. So Bieniemy would be up there on the Jets list. A lot of people would bring up Lincoln Riley. I think you bring up Harbaugh from Michigan. I don't see any of those guys being very good fits. I don't know. I don't know where I would go. I couldn't even begin to speculate on special teams coaches or offensive coordinators and who could go there, because it's such a crazy spider web of potential options. Because once you pick a head coach, then you got to see, okay, which guys sort of fit under there. But I've always liked Harbaugh for his NFL IQ and his football knowledge and everything, but I just don't see him getting along well with Greg Williams at all. I would like to see Greg Williams will be my answer. That's who I would like to see as head coach if Gase gets fired. That'll be my final answer for that. All right, let's open up the phone lines again. Get your calls. Get your thoughts on everything. What do you guys want to talk about? See you guys talking in the chat. What's up? Guys, if you want a chance to win a hat, shirt, or mug from the Jets Talk store, click on the link in my description. Head over to my Twitch channel. I'm going to the Twitch channel tonight. Head over to that. Just follow me, add me as a friend. I'm trying to build the brand over on Twitch, because they have a lot of really cool streaming aspects that I could get into over there as well. But help the brand grow. If you guys want to have both streams going at the same time, I do need a certain amount of people concurrent, like at the same time on Twitch, and that makes it look good. So if you guys want to help out and you want to just have it open in two screens, you can do that as well. You can mute one. I don't care. But Twitch is going to be hopefully a new area for the channel, so we shall see. I see Multiples, X Heavyweight, Mouth Tempo, all popping into the chat over on the Twitch side of things. Ooh, we got our friend
David Gangrene.
Yo, what's up, David? How you doing?
Ryan, it's been a while, dude.
I know, it's been quite a while. How was your 21st birthday?
Good. I got really hammered for the most part.
That's important. You got to do that on your 21st.
Yeah, I did. I mean, it was fun. I mean, I got hammered on my actual birthday, and then I got hammered on Saturday and played a little bit of beer pong. It was definitely fun.
Solid. There you go. I used to play beer pong a lot when I was in college. Since I've gotten out of college, I might have played like 5 times. I have not played in so long. It's tough to get people together to like actually do those kinds of things. And then when you get older, you start saying like, I don't want to drink when I make a ball in a cup. I just want to drink. And then you just keep drinking. And that's kind of how it happens when you get a little older. But that's awesome. That sounds like fun.
Well, right. It is fun, and I actually also got another surprise for my birthday: a new Blue Yeti microphone. So
There you go. I did see that picture. I saw it pop up, and I meant to respond. I've just been working like a dog, so I haven't I haven't responded to like anyone.
It's fine, but I'm going to use that now for when we get the panel back together, so the audio issue is solved. And I'm actually also enjoying the Bills fan in the chat. The troll comments are actually hilarious.
Oh, I'm very much a believer that there needs to be a hate in football or in sports in general, that rivalry that you get between teams hating each other, like the Jets hating the Patriots because they've just been so dominant. Those are the fun games that you want to see. Not like a violent hate, but like I don't want these Jet players to like these Bills players or these Dolphins players. Like I want them to like feel the passion that the Jets fans feel. And you like when you lose to the Patriots, it hurts me. I want it to hurt our players as much as it hurts me when we lose to the Patriots.
Oh, trust me, it hurts anytime we lose to a rival. Like that's when it hurts the most. Anytime we lose to the Dolphins, the Bills, or the Patriots, that's when it hurts the most because they're your rivals, and you got to win the division. Part of winning the division is beating your rivals in your division. So now with the Patriots on a little bit of a decline with Brady being gone and question mark at quarterback, and they lost some of their guys. They have a questionable receiving core. The definition's wide open. We spoke about this for months, but everybody is riding on the Bills right now as the favorites because of the whole Stephon Diggs move. And right now on paper, they're loaded on defense, and their offense upgraded a little bit. The Dolphins made a lot of acquisitions in the free agent market, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And then of course you got the Jets. You know, obviously it's pretty much an evaluation year for us for the most part. We got a lot of guys on one-year deals. And,
this is very much a division that's up in the air. I don't know. I mean, all of us feel like the Bills are probably the team to beat right now. The Patriots have done well without Tom Brady in the lineup, and Bill Belichick's still there, so you never know what they could or could not be. You could wind up seeing the Jets sweep them for the first time, or you could see them, wind up thumping us like they usually do. And the Dolphins are such an interesting kind of team because they've added a ton of pieces. Will they gel together? What does that team look like? Are they actually going to be good? Is Tua going to start? Is it going to be Fitzpatrick? How good is Fitzpatrick going to be? I don't know.
I feel like Tua will Dolphins. Like you honestly would have to see in training camp. But if you drafted a quarterback with the 5th overall pick, then there's a good chance. I'm not giving the title to any rookie as a starter until they prove it in training camp. But Tua looks like to be the more starting caliber kind of quarterback from that draft class. He's probably the best quarterback in that draft class, besides Joe Burrow, of course. So I could see Tua starting for the Dolphins. I mean, there's not really much he could beat out anyway. And I think Fitzpatrick, if they bring him back, he make a solid backup. But also, you look at the Jets side of things, you need to hope to God that the Jets stay as relatively healthy as possible. You don't want to have practice squad guys thrust into starting roles. You don't want to have 9 offensive line changes because you saw how Sam Darnold had to go through that last year, especially since you look at the receiving core. You have a player that excelled in only 6 games. You have an unproven second-round pick. You have Jamison Crowder in the slot, which is fine. You have 2 tight ends coming off injury, and then you have Bell and Gore in the backfield too. And hopefully Adam Gase could actually use them properly. So,
yeah, I mean, if you wanted to take a very cynical look at how the Jets team looks from like an outsider's perspective, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. You have Sam, who didn't play phenomenal or didn't play like real well. Like he did increase his stats in all the major categories. I did a video on that at the end of the season. But by and large, a lot of fans from other teams aren't necessarily very impressed with Sam Darnold. You have, like you said, the 2 tight ends coming off injury. Perriman, who has been lackluster everywhere he's been outside of last year with Tampa Bay. You have an unproven rookie as your second-round wide receiver. You have a brand new offensive line with 5 new guys. There's no guarantee they're going to gel together. You have an aging running back in Frank Gore. You have a running back who had a ton of miles on his legs in Le'Veon Bell over his course of his time in Pittsburgh, who could be running like a 31-year-old running back right now. If the tread isn't quite there on his tires. And then you have your star player Jamal Adams in a contract dispute right now that could drag into the season. The Jets,
I have a feeling.
The Jets have a lot of potential, like, oh no, like situations. But they also have a lot of hope. Like, the Jets' offensive line last year was so terrible, it's hard to envision this line being worse than last year's line. So, like, I think we are better, but you can see where other teams, like our Bills friends in there, in the chat, why the Jets may not be a very good team and why we might be finishing in the bottom of our division.
I think he's just trolling. Like,
oh yeah, for me too. But
yeah, he just likes to screw around, you know. But I'm excited for the season. I hope to God that we're allowed to go to games because my butt better be in my seat at MetLife come September. Like, that's speaking from a fan's perspective. But how are you holding up with the whole pandemic, by the way? Like, I know you're back at work.
Oh yeah. It's been different. I've been working a lot of hours. But it's been, I guess, good to kind of get out and about. It's nice to see a lot of people at the golf course being happy and just excited that we're open. It's neat. You can make a note in a tee time when you book a tee time, and a lot of the notes that I've seen, maybe not a lot, but I've seen a few throughout the course of the days that just say, hey, thank you for being open. Thank you for doing what you do. And it's kind of nice to see that people acknowledge that, you know, we are still a recreational activity, and, you know, I don't know. They almost view us not as an essential business, but something that they deem as an essential activity that they love doing. Business. Yeah, you know, it's just kind of cool. It's nice to see that people are happy that we're open and having fun with it. But it's a lot of work. I've been doing a lot of pro shop shifts, so I've been waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, getting there for 5 o'clock, and then just being exhausted the rest of my day. So that's the reason I haven't really made too many videos, editing-wise. Plus, with the new puppy, it's been a lot of running around and potty training back and forth. It's been a little crazy over there.
I'm glad you're gonna make the puppy a Jet fan. You know,
yeah. Did I show you? Let me pull up the video real quick. I'll pull up the video and I'm gonna show it on the screen. I don't know if it's actually going to come up real clear or not, so I apologize for you guys. But I took a video of Bolly. Bolly's my puppy. With her running around in a Jet jersey that I got her. And where is the video? It is the cutest thing on the face of the planet. And it's just like, look at that. She's just jumping all over me. Look at that. That is just adorableness. Just running. She's going to be a linebacker. That's what it's going to be.
Your dog is that comfortable in a Jet. My dog hates the Jet jersey. When I put it on him, he just sits there and does absolutely nothing.
Bolly loves it. She's a Jet fan through and through. We're gonna be watching the game. What's cool is one of my good buddies is a Raiders fan. I saw him today for a little bit, and it's cool because we got our puppies from like the same person, so his puppy's a little bit older than our puppy, and he's a Raider fan. I'm a Jets fan, obviously. We're playing the Raiders this year. He lives like 25 minutes away, so we're gonna get together. We're gonna have both our dogs in our Jets and Raiders uniforms, and me and him are gonna watch the game, and Jets and Raiders it up.
Yeah, I'm excited for the season. I mean, I hope to watch some games with opposing fans. Hopefully, you and I can even catch a game this year.
Yeah, fingers crossed, right? I mean, I think it's going to be tough to get tickets. I think if I were the Jets, I would say I would make the PSL holders priority first, then season ticket holders, and then the public outside of that. Because you would like to see the fans that are in the stands, the actual fans of the team, not the public that are just trying to like get an away team ticket. And also you got to kind of these season ticket holders year in and year out are the guys that constantly go back to the stadium and put up a ton of money up front for their season tickets, especially when the Jets have been bad and the tickets aren't really worth much towards the later end of the season. you want to see them kind of give back to the fans there.
Yeah, like I think for me, because like I actually the games I went to this year, like I actually went with a guy who's been a season ticket holder down in the lower levels, so he's been paying FCS stuff for quite a while. So if I do end up getting season tickets this year, I might just buy them off him instead of buying it through the Jets, because he actually got a package deal for his tickets. So I guess it would actually work in my end, but I don't know how it would work for the NFL. But right now, I think they're going to move forward with everything as planned.
Yeah, I hope so. I think that's what we'd all like to see, get back to a little bit of normalcy. And I think as long as there's no real spikes in COVID that we're kind of seeing. Now what's going to be interesting is if a player gets COVID, like in the locker room, how does that team operate? Does the entire team get shut down? Does the player get quarantined, but no one knows what's going on with like the other guys because there's like a 7-day incubation period or a 14-day incubation period? Who knows? If one player gets COVID, it's going to be a total mess of a situation. And I think we're going to get to see what that looks like first with the NBA, because I believe the NBA comes back, was it 2 weeks
July
maybe?
31st.
Yeah, July 31st, or is it June 30th? Is the end of June?
31st.
It is July. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll get to see what that looks like with the NBA first. If someone winds up getting that, and then how the teams react with the other players on the roster, that'll be interesting to see. I think that's the most curious thing for me right now, because I think they're gonna start the season probably without fans, and then maybe start with 25%, then partway through the season go up to 50%, and then if everything kind of holds through, they could start seeing more and more fans towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I could see them starting out the season. I could see them doing the preseason with no fans. Like that would be more realistic. Training camp, that's off the table. I don't think no fan will probably be allowed to attend training camp whatsoever.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, it would be go without fans, and that way once September comes, because season officially starts September 10th.
Yep.
You'll have a much more clear identity of where you are in terms of pandemic, infection rate, hospitalizations, all these things. But anyway, Ryan, I'm gonna let you get some other calls, man.
All right, dude. Thanks so much for calling in. Gangrene David, another great Jets YouTuber. Make sure you check him out on his channel. Guys, you were wondering why I timed out Justin. Justin's one of my moderators in the chat. Justin, make sure we watch the language. I saw the comment. I know I saw when I scrolled back up, I probably should have muted someone else also. So it's not just you. But I just want to make sure my moderators are following my moderators' rules. I'm okay with people, going back and forth and trolling a little bit, but I don't want to see too much stuff going on. So make sure you do your job. Otherwise, I just reset everyone's mods. No one's mod. And then I'll populate people as I see fit. Becca's in the chat. She's got her Bali. Is Bali in the background? Bali's not in the background, right? No, she's in the kitchen. Okay. Let's get to some more phone calls. What do you guys want to talk about? If you want your chance to win a hat, shirt, or mug from the Jets Talk store, make sure you follow me on Twitch. If you really want to show me some love, keep the Twitch window and the YouTube window open at the same time and get me a little bit of love on the Twitch platform. I know we're all YouTubers over here, so Twitch is a little foreign to probably most of us. Definitely for me. I don't really know what I'm doing on Twitch. But we're going to try simulcast, try to grow the channel. Whew, take off.
Call from
Vinny.
to accept.
Hey, what's up, Vinny?
What's up? How are you? How you been?
Hanging in there, Another day, another dollar.
Same old, I mean, besides the fact that yesterday was the first time I climbed on a bicycle since I broke my back.
Mm-hmm. That's not fun. You don't want to break your back, and you don't want to climb on a bicycle, because if you climb on a bicycle, you want to sit on a bicycle. If you climb on a bicycle, that's how you break your back. Sorry, that was a bad dad joke. What's on your mind?
You should hear my bad sports jokes.
I don't need to hear any of your bad sports jokes. I hear plenty of your bad sports jokes every time you call. Ooh, burn! No. What's on your mind, Vinny?
Bad one. So here it is. I'll tell you.
All right, let me have it.
So, you know how there are three towns in America that have two baseball teams: New York, Chicago, and LA, and they got nicknames for all their series. New York's got the Subway Series, Chicago's got the Crosstown Cup, and LA has Traffic.
It's okay. That's fine. That's fair. That is okay.
Yeah, I was just looking at the title of your title of live stream. So you got talking about cap. You're talking about the cap space situation and kneeling.
Yep. Yeah. So we haven't really touched on kneeling too much.
I can explain some of that.
Yeah, I brought it up briefly at the beginning. I wanted to touch on it because.
I'll give a brief history.
Yeah. Go for it.
I'll just give. So police brutality is a problem because it's a culture problem because it's been there. The problem is it's been there since the very beginning. Because you want to know what the first job of police was in the early days of America?
What was that?
Rounding up fugitive slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Reconstruction, their job was to enforce Jim Crow laws.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a they've been like that since the very beginning, and that's why you have all the anger and frustration.
But that's a tough thing. So it's I don't think you could compare the police officers now to what they started with to begin with, because I think the vast majority of cops are definitely there to improve their communities and are good cops. I think that's
But the problem is a lot of them don't police the communities they're in.
Well, that's a big concern because the communities they're a part of, they're policing areas that they're not a community member of, and I think that's part of an issue.
Yeah, there's actually a town in New Jersey that completely disbanded their police and rebuilt it from the ground up.
I've heard that. I think Matt was saying
Camden,
this.
New Jersey.
Was it Matt? Or no, it wasn't Matt. It was Camden did that?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, could that be a potential route that states take and towns take? Could they defund a police department and fund maybe a different type of group, like another type of police?
Probably so. You mean community groups to help social outreach programs?
Yeah, I mean,
the police do too much. It's the problem. They've said it. It's like I mean, they're called to help people with mental illness that they have no training for. They're called to help people with health issues that they have no training for.
Yeah.
In some areas of the country, they're called to round up stray dogs that they had no training for.
Yeah, I mean, the police definitely have to do a lot of very odd jobs.
You want to take a really good look at it? John Oliver just did a special yesterday. Did a bit on it yesterday. It's all up on YouTube. But let's get out of something depressing. Let's talk about sports.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that.
So yeah, and I'm looking forward to the season. And look at the captain. You just talked about Joe Douglas's 1 year, and I already feel like it's been 1 year since he's fully taken over. Next, I feel like it's been a transformation. I mean, of this team. I mean, I felt like it was incredibly incompetent like a year ago when he took over. Incompetence, I felt like they just constantly would shoot themselves in the foot, make bad moves, ignore vital areas, just try to focus. I think for years the Jets tried to do sexy big moves in free agency.
And even in trades, you talk about getting Cromartie, getting Santonio Holmes.
Yeah.
Braylon Edwards, all these different moves that the Jets made in the last 11 years or so. It's been a lot of flashy. I mean, more than 11 years. It's been like that for a long time.
I think ever since free agency's been around, the Jets have been making big flashy moves.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and I think they need to start making the smart move. Which, if you watch what Buffalo did last year, is what I wanted the Jets to do last year, and the Jets waited till this year.
Really sexy.
No, they just they brought in offensive linemen. They brought in weapons.
I think was Mitch Morse.
Yeah, the center. That was a popular name for Jets fans that year. Him and Paradis. I don't know who wound up having the better season. I didn't keep tabs on either one of them, but I wanted them to address the offensive line last year. We saw Sam run for his life, and it really hurt the Jets.
Sexy doesn't win.
Sure.
I think the Patriots have been dominant without really ever making. When was the last time they made a sexy move? When they traded for Randy Moss?
I think trading. Did they trade for Stephen Gilmore, or did they sign him as a free agent?
Signed him
That-
as a free agent.
He was a free agent. Okay, so yeah, I guess trading
That's another thing that Bill Belichick sucks at, drafting defensive backs. He's like,
Yeah, no, I knew
he
that,
sucks at-
but yeah, maybe the last
Patriots have made it for, you see like all these successful teams in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
The teams that are consistently contending, when do you ever see them make big, sexy moves? You never see it. It's
They
the
don't.
teams that are it's the struggling teams. It's the teams that are,
Well, that's
average or below average or middle of the pack.
People talk about free agency, and when I'm on my Jet forum, there's a guy over there, and I apologize for not remembering the name, but he calls it fraud agency. So when you're going into free agency, you shouldn't do what we've done in the past and blow your load on like all these expensive guys. Le'Veon Bell at $15 million a year, I knew when he signed that deal, he was never going to live up to that contract. No one's going to live up to a $15 million a year contract. It's just not going to happen. But
Yeah.
I mean, any player that signs their big deal has earned their big deal because of their past performance, and it's going to be very tough to continue that play. Look, Khalil Mack's making $20 million a year. Last year probably didn't earn his $20 million. But at the same time...
probably just into a new defensive scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like I said, yeah, free agency, you look at it, football's one of those sports where free agency isn't really as crucial.
Yeah, football free agency, it's so much about the team and being able to get the players to surround your roster, create depth. That's what the Jets have lacked since 2009, 2010.
Players, like,
We never had depth.
Other sports free agencies, like big sexy moves will win. NBA, you can win with a big sexy move. I think, baseball, you win with big sexy moves because that's pretty much every player can.
Almost every other sport you do win with big sexy moves. You get the, you bring in the.
I'm not sure if that works in hockey because I don't pay attention to hockey.
That's 100% true because I do not pay attention to hockey either. I went to my first hockey game this past winter.
Matt would know that.
Matt would know that. We'll talk about that with Matt the next time he's on. I got to have him on again. I have. I don't know if you heard me. I'm going to have Connor Rogers from Bleacher Report on next week.
But that's what I said. When football, it's about the smart moves, and the funny thing is, I'm looking at people for years the Jets have been criticized for blowing their load, but then what happens the first time the Jets make smart, patient moves in free agency? Oh, look at the Jets, they whiffed free agency.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying, that the Jets had one of the better drafts. They're saying that the Jets did well in free agency based on the value that they got. It's hard to disagree. I think the Jets did all right. I'm not going to say they won free agency. I think they did get good value in the draft, and I'm cautiously optimistic. You're gambling on a lot of unknowns, and I'm okay with that because the division is largely unknown. I mean, aside from the Bills, the other two teams could be totally up in the air. We don't know what they could be.
I think the Patriots are going to regress, and I think the Dolphins are your way because I don't think it would be wise to put Tua behind such a shaky offensive line.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that situation with his health. Do they let him start right off the bat, or do they roll with Fitzpatrick? I think you roll with Fitzpatrick to start. I would think, at least in preseason to begin.
The question is how much is the owner going to interfere? Because we've seen it where owners have interfered in who plays or not.
Yeah,
we saw that with the Redskins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the Redskins ownership is one of the worst in the NFL, and I don't really know a whole lot about Miami's ownership, but yeah, I would tend to believe owners would like to see their new shiny toy play at the beginning of their contract, and then you take advantage of, you let him get his lumps. Now, I think health is going to be the biggest issue for Tua. If Tua shows that he's the better quarterback in preseason, he's 100% healthy, then sure, yeah, start him. If you think you want to rest him maybe the first month of the season because he's not ready to get all the hits and everything that his body is going to have to take in the NFL, then start Fitz. There's no shame in starting Fitz. And honestly, if you had to sit Tua for an entire year and you wind up getting a bad draft pick because of Fitz, you're only helping Tua next year anyway. I think he does need to start at some point. You got to have at least some reps. I would say at least 6 to 8 games is what Dolphins fans should expect out of Tua. I think he's going to get more. I think they're going to try and get him to start if he's healthy.
Yeah, but I really don't think they're going to be any. I've seen people try to put them in, I really think they're probably going to be third or fourth, depends on how bad the Patriots fall.
And what the Jets are. Like, I think the Jets, Bills, and Jets, Dolphins, and Patriots are in this very muddled mix of, the best coach resides in New England, the best, roster
is in Buffalo,
of those,
and the best
yeah,
quarterback is in New York.
That's how I would kind of divvy that up. I think Sam is going to be the best quarterback.
I think I was just reading Bleacher Report. They have the Jets as the dark horse for the AFC East.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think the Jets are winning the AFC East this year. I think we could sneak into that 7th seed playoff. It's the chips fall, but we also face a very hard schedule this year. It's going to depend on the division. I think the Jets, I guess the Jets might have to win the division to get in because of the strength of schedule that we face. What do you think gets it? What do you think gets into that 7th? What does that 7th seed look like? What's the record you think you'll need to get?
Probably, I think you can probably get there with 8 wins minimum, I'm going to say.
I think 8-8 gets it done. A lot of times you see 9-7 make it into the playoffs in a normal 6-game bracket. So maybe it's like a lower 9-7 team, but 8-8 I think is very, very possible for the AFC. I don't think there's a lot of teams that are real good. I think you'll see a lot of teams that are probably in the middle. I think after the Chiefs, the Ravens, and I guess you do the Bills and the Titans maybe, and the Texans. There's the
Texans are going to regress because you're taking away their
Hopkins.
You're taking away their 8 in D-Hop.
But do you think so? Do the Colts replace the Texans potentially with Phillip Rivers being there? Is Phillip Rivers over the hill and that doesn't matter in Indianapolis anymore?
Depends on how much Rivers has left in the tank, and depends on how well he works in Frank Reich's offense.
I completely agree, Vinny. I'm ejecting you from the cockpit so I can get some more callers. So thank you for tuning in. Man, what are you guys talking about in the chat? Evan says Vinny equals ramble. Vinny does like to ramble. I need to get I keep saying I'm going to do this. I got to get my 5-minute timer back for my chicken ejector seat because I haven't done that. Who we got?
From
Steve.
Hey, what's up, Steve? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, Ryan. Good to be here. How you doing?
Oh, hanging in there. How was your weekend?
Not too bad. So I'm in Jersey like yourself, and actually, I had some buddies from college and went to school in Maryland, and was able to go down there for the weekend. So, which was weird. They have outdoor restaurants. We were able to go to a wine vineyard. So it was nice to get a little taste of what life was like again. So hopefully we're on the road to that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think our from what I've heard, June 15th is when outdoor seating can start happening. In golf, that means our pro shops can open and we can have our restaurant kind of sit outside, and so it's starting to get a little bit back to normal. I think the mass gathering is going to be the biggest thing. Getting sports back on is going to make life feel a lot more normal than what we've had recently.
Yeah, we need it now more than ever. So basically, one of the questions I had was what remaining moves you think we would make and the positions we would look at. I think, I don't think we really need to address corner anymore. I mean, Logan Ryan would have been great, but I just think we have enough depth where we can survive for this year, even with a tougher schedule. I really just want to see that guy on the edge. I'd spend, not literally, but I'm willing to go all in with the remaining $20 million we have to get a decent edge rusher here.
See, I don't know who would we go after, right? Because I don't want Clowney. I think he's dominant, but I think he's probably not the type of edge rusher that I'm really looking for. I'm looking for a sack artist.
A run stopper.
Yeah, I would like a sack artist, and part of me would really love to go after Ndakwe. If there's a way you can trade and somehow get him here, I like him a lot. I think he's one of the better young pass rushers in this league at 25 years old. I do think that's probably unrealistic for the Jets. I think we're going to address edge rusher and cornerback early in free agency or the draft next year, similar to how we handled O-tackle and wide receiver. So in terms of free agency, guys that are still out there, Vinny Curry is a situational pass rusher who's graded out pretty well in pass rushing situations, and I would like to see us get him. I think Everson Griffin's probably a little better at this point.
He's the guy I want.
Yeah, I think he's really good. Either one of those two I'd be very happy with. Logan Ryan I would be happy with. I think corner is that other position that I'm really eyeing. I didn't want him at the start of free agency. I really don't want him for $11 million if that's what he's really rumored to want. But for a 1-year contract, I'm okay with it. I think at this point, if the Jets are comfortable with their edge rushing situation with Huff and with Zuniga, then maybe you allocate that money towards contracts in the future, like a Jamal Adams. Like maybe you try to pay him a little bit more this year just to kind of like, hey, let's ease the pain. I know you want a new contract, and then you want to roll over that money because we're going to have to pay Sam at some point. But I would say in terms of how I want to utilize that money, edge rusher and corner edge rusher 1, corner 2 would probably be the two areas that I'd look for.
Right, and it's hard to say because I know we've seen it literally in several examples where the Browns had stacked wide receivers, but their line was crap, so they couldn't even use anything. So I believe with hopefully our upgraded line that we all think we have, that makes our average receiving core better than we think. So
sure, it should help our.
We think we do.
Yeah, so that's the big argument, right? Like if you look at the Jets and you think, hey, a lot of the issues I saw were with the offensive line. That's why we couldn't run. That's why Sam had no time in the pocket to throw to his receivers. If that's how you view it, and the Jets are getting into 3rd and long, 4 and out or 3 and outs, that kind of situation, the defense is on the field longer, so they're more gassed than the average defense should be. Yeah, then if the Jets fix their offensive line, and this is going to be a solution right now, we're sitting at around maybe a top 15, top 20 offensive line, this team's going to look a lot better. I think you're going to see better wide receiver play. I think you're going to see better running back play. I think you're going to see better quarterback play. I think that's important. The offensive line is going to be really huge for the New York Jets this year.
Mm-hmm. And then something I always think to myself, it just pains me to think about, is imagine if Mac was gone with Bowles and Joe had all of last season with the cap that we would have used on Mosley and Bell and all these guys. We would have been a playoff contender this year.
It would be a lot. It would be a lot more interesting if we could have gotten Joe Douglas last year. I would have definitely preferred that. I think Joe Douglas is legit. I really do. Based on everything that I've seen, even the Ryan Khalil move that did not work out was a sound football judgment move. Like, hey, there are no free agents. There are no trades available. Let's pull a guy out of retirement who is an all-pro to try and, capture lightning in a bottle. I like the swing. Didn't connect, but, so be it. If you had all the money last year in free agency, there's no doubt in my mind that Joe Douglas attacks the offensive line. I think we do what the Bills did last year. I think you get that center, whether it be Paradis or Mitch Morris. I think you take, we probably trade down from 3 to get Jonah Williams, or maybe you take Josh Allen instead of Quinnen Williams. Who knows? I don't exactly know where he was going to go with the first pick, but it feels like from what I saw this year, he's looking for value in offensive line and helping Sam. And I think he would have helped Sam last year as opposed to what we did with McCagnon last year.
Exactly. Last year was really the year to do it, especially with the way the schedule was laid out. I mean, I think we would have been competitive with where the Bills were. Like, they finished second in the division. I think that's really where the Jets should have been on paper. I mean, the Bell and Mosley signings were such an impact to the team. Like, they're great players, but it's just the sources were not there. Like, we just didn't allocate to the right places on the team. We were just trying to do band-aids rather than long-term projections and that type of thing.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is the lack of what seemed like a consistent offense from Gase. I know the players couldn't really execute it, and hopefully it's a player issue and not a coach issue, because ideally you want to see Gase here long term, because that means things are working. Sam is progressing. So I'm hoping that it's not a Gase problem here, but we'll see.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think, it doesn't mean that much, because I'm sure there's a fair share that don't like him. But at least, you see these guys like Gore and some other random guys that stick up for him. So he's not as bad as we like to think. And I think we know, the New York media is crazy. We got Manish Mehta in the neighborhood,
Oh, man, I cannot.
Stories.
Don't get me started on Manish. He gets me fired up. This guy literally reports garbage news all the time.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Just like the lineman the other day.
Kyle Long. He's trying to come out of retirement.
Oh, my God.
No, what are you talking about? We just, like, anyone with half a brain that heard that report could have looked at it and been like, that's not true at all. We called the guy out of retirement last year because we had no options. We literally revamped this entire offensive line. Why would we take a guy? No, yeah.
If you're gonna get like a crazy all-pro right tackle, like left tackle was fine. I believe back then. But if you have like an insane caliber right tackle, yeah, maybe. But I mean, guards, we have so much depth at guard now.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But,
Listen,
yeah,
I'm gonna eject you.
Back to it.
Good stuff, brother. Thank you for the call. TJ Decker, I saw your comment in there. He's asking about Connor Rogers. Did I reach out to Connor Rogers of Bleacher Report? I did. He was actually, TJ Decker was the one that actually told me to reach out to him. And he's going to be coming on the show next week for about a half hour, 45 minutes. I believe we're doing 8 o'clock to 8:45 with him, and then I'll continue on for the other hour and 15 minutes or so. But keep an eye out for that. I should have a thumbnail dropping for that once I know for sure on the time. Bernard, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, Ryan? How you doing?
Hanging in there. How was your weekend?
Oh, pretty good. I'm getting to get a little bit more rest lately. They kind of changed our schedule. I'm glad of it. It's Monday through Friday, and I can rest Saturday and Sunday. So.
Oh, there you go. That's nice.
So far, so good. Yeah,
what are you thinking
of? To you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Go on.
Yeah, I've been listening in and some of your commentary, and I think you projected 8-8 and for possible playoff opening.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to get on fast as I could to jump in there for you. I'm sorry, buddy.
Sure.
What do you think? So I don't worry so much outside about our chances. I got a strong feeling on the inside. We may have to worry. The Dolphins are pushing up.
Sure.
The Bills are coming on strong. We always struggle with the Patriots. I don't know. Always struggle with them.
Yeah. Do you think?
I think we're gonna have. Yeah.
So what do you think? I'm not necessarily predicting the Jets get in the playoffs at 8-8, but I'm saying I think that 7th seed could be 8-8. Whether that's the Jets is to be seen, because it's really a matter of tiebreakers. Because I think we'll see a few teams tied at 8-8. Yeah, who knows? I don't know. It's I'm a Jets YouTube, so I should be a little more pro Jets on this topic.
Some of the teams that you could be projecting to probably get in 8-8, I think are going to go 9-7, 10-6, namely Cleveland. I've been having my eyes on them for the last couple of years. Baker Mayfield, he had a rough year last year. Things didn't go as planned, and he got some skirmishes with the media, and it's like it snowballed on him. I'm looking for that team to bounce back and be at least a little closer to where they were projected. You can never meet sometimes those expectations, but I think they could be a lot better than they shown us last year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see
for their division along with Baltimore. Baltimore, I think they've got it probably at let's say 11-5, 12-4.
Yeah, I could see. I could see Baltimore getting 12-4 pretty easily. I could see them getting the 1 seed. I think at the very least they're going to get the 2 seed. I don't think Cleveland's going to compete for that division, really. I think they're going to compete for a wild card. I really think the Ravens are too good at this point. The Steelers are kind of a wild card for me. I don't know what to expect out of Big Ben for this season. Is he going to get back to his form? I kind of felt like he was starting to get to that point where retirement was going to be a real concern. So I don't know if after a season ending or missing a season, only playing 1 game last year, how he's really going to play coming into this year. So that team's kind of a question mark.
You just never know. Yeah, that hadn't been really a question mark. The Pittsburgh Steelers hadn't been a question mark in literally decades.
It's been, forever.
80s, that's after the steel curtain, kind of dissipated. And
sure.
Bradshaw, getting old in the 80s was that period. Then they bounced back in the 90s stronger than ever. 2000s was sheer dominance. I think them and the Ravens, they just took turns just beating up on everybody. So,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what that team's identity is going to be. A lot of people I've heard sort of, if Big Ben goes down, who's the guy that could potentially step in? Is it going to be someone that they have currently on their roster? Is it someone like maybe a Cam Newton, a big-bodied guy that could step in? I think Cam.
To me, a lot of teams are shying away from Cam.
Sure.
Baggage, I guess, his personality.
I don't know if it's so much.
Demonstrative, he wants to dominate, and I don't know if some coaches want a more low key.
Maybe I I don't think it's so much the personality. I think it's more so the injuries. I think he just can't stay healthy for a full calendar season. So I think when you look at where Cam could go, I think we're going to wait and see that in training camp or early in the season. Whatever quarterback goes down from a playoff potential type team, like if Deshaun Watson goes down, or if Carson Wentz goes down, or if, literally insert any quarterback on a playoff caliber team, that's where Cam, I think, will sign. And I think he'll sign for lower money to kind of prove it. Similar to like a Jameis Winston, maybe not quite as low, but I think you could see that kind of route from Jameis, or from Cam.
So where do you see the AFC East overall projection? I'm really worried about Miami, first. I know Buffalo, they're probably the top team. And people,
For me right now, Buffalo's number 1 in our division. I'm putting the Patriots at number 2 because they have Bill Belichick, and until proven otherwise, I can't see the Jets leapfrogging them just yet. I do think Sam is going to be the best quarterback in our division.
Let me ask you, if we had a strong head coach, that's the thing that's lurking over the Jets. I believe if we had a strong head coach, we could overtake the Patriots.
Yeah, I think even with Adam Gase, we could overtake the Patriots. I think them not having Tom Brady is a huge step in the right direction right off the bat.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
Look, it's going to be. I'm more interested in what the Jets do themselves. Like, are they going to field a competent offense? Are they going to gel together? Does this offensive line look like they're working together? Before I really start judging them against some of the other teams, I guess, in our division. Obviously I'm going to be judging them the entire time. But I think my first priority of this season is to make sure Sam stays upright. Everything's got to be, hey, is Sam the franchise guy? I fully believe it.
I think we show semblance of just as about them getting the reps together and building that continuity and getting comfortable working around each other. Mm-hmm. I think we have the pieces for a functional line. Is it the line we had back in the early 2000s with Rex Ryan? No. Mm-hmm. It's not the Damian Woody, Brandon Moore. It's probably as good as it's going to get. Alan Faniker, Nick Mango in prime, and Brick. I think we have a functional line. The only thing I worry about is those early matchups against Buffalo and against San Francisco. And Gase's mentality to try to force the issue and not adapt. That's the thing in the back of my mind. Really worries me with him.
That is the biggest concern.
Out of the backfield as a security blanket to try to keep Sam out of some early bad situations. Is he going to try to at least establish a running game?
I would like to see him maybe run the ball on first down with like Gore and just try to pound the rock up the middle. Just see what it sort of looks like. Let him take a little bit of the beating. Yeah. Then second down, depending on what you get, let's say you get 3 yards on first down. Now maybe you get Bell in the backfield or in the flat and you pick up a few more yards. Then maybe you're in a third and manageable. We were in so many third and longs last year. It was like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 consistently. And you're just never the chances of you converting that are just so much lower than a 3rd and 4. So it's I don't know. Gase is the biggest concern for me.
Run the ball early against Buffalo and San Francisco. We got the biggest lineman on the field. Just line up, simplicity. Run the ball behind them. At least make an effort to do so and try to pound them. And maybe we can get a little momentum and wear them down just enough. And slow down their pass rush just enough. Maybe Darnold could get some time out of the passes. Maybe some 3rd and short, 2nd and short. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. If the Jets can wind up getting 3rd and manageable, I think we're going to be in really good shape. And I think we could play with a lot of these teams that we're going to verse. It's just a matter of, is Gase going to be stubborn in his play calling? I really don't. Like last year, it looked like he was stubborn. He was, I don't know. It's like he wanted to drive his point home, which I guess that's stubborn. But he just didn't feel like he wanted to adapt for what the game was like throwing at him. If you see something, at least go into halftime and adjust and come out better in the second half. And I don't know if we got that much last year. But a lot of that falls on the offensive line. A lot of it falls on Sam being sick, all the injuries we had. There was a whole wombo combo of crap that happened last year.
Everything that sort of went wrong, you're right. Basically went wrong. Quincy Noor, that was a devastating loss. Losing him. And, oh, man, then Chris Ernie got in trouble. And then I don't know, he got hurt. And then, bro. Then
sure.
The line just wasn't very good. And then Sam Donald got mono. I think when I heard the report, I'm like, what?
Oh yeah.
Hey, Drew, I had to kind of look it up and remember what I ain't never heard of the
mononucleosis.
A TV series called Happy Days.
What's that mononucleosis stuff? That doesn't make any sense. I've never heard of this. All right, Bernard, I'm gonna eject you from the cockpit. I'm ejecting you from the cockpit. I love you, dude. Thank you so much for calling in. I look forward to talking to you again next week. Gonna try and hammer out some more calls. I got 24 minutes, guys. If you want to get entered to win a hat, shirt, or mug from the Jets Talk store, down in my description there is a link to the Jets to my Twitch account, Jets Talk 24/7 on Twitch. Give me a follow on Twitch. We're gonna try and grow that platform. We're gonna simulcast to Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube every night. And or sorry, not every night, every Monday night, and eventually every Tuesday night with the guys over on the Talking Jets panel. I'll eventually kind of get that back, sort of feeling out my schedule and everything that's going on with that. Ryan, I want a hat, brother, says FM. He wants to win a hat, shirt, or mug from the Jets Talk store. He goes, yo, what do I got to do to win a hat? Just got to follow me. Follow me on Twitch. That's where we're going this week. Maybe next week I'll push it to the Facebook. This week, it's going to be Twitch. Last, 3 weeks have been Twitch. Pushing that hard. Going to try and get to 100. If we can get to 100 followers, I think we're up to 73, and I really haven't streamed there much, so.
Call from
Nico.
Hey, what's up, Nico? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hello?
Yo, what's good, dude?
Nothing much. What's good?
Hanging in there. How was your weekend?
Good. How's yours?
I can't complain. It was nice. I was off yesterday. I was off today. Kind of had a little bit of a reset kind of day. And now I'm talking with you, jabronis. Anything you want to talk about?
No.
Ejected from the cockpit. That was a terrible call. That's so bad. Frank Haver, what Twitch? Down in my description of my video, I think I put it there. Maybe I didn't. Let's take a look. Let's see if Ryan put the Twitch thing in there. I think I did. Down in the description, there should be a link to my Twitch. Boom, there it is. Yeah, just hit follow on there. Show me some love over that way. All right, caller on the line. Alex, what's up, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, what's up, man? Just had a quick question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
So with our schedule being so tough, what do you think, or what do you want to see in terms of just points per game and just the flow of the offense, regardless of the record, to look at the season and be happy with what happened?
Sure. If we could, I'd love to know what the average score of teams are by offense. I'm sure I could look it up, but to me, if I could see a consistent 21 points every week, week in and week out, I could expect to get 21. That would make me feel better, because I feel like a lot of times we wind up sitting there with 9 points, 13 points, 16 points. And at least if you get to that 20 point, 21 point threshold, generally that means you got 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. You're getting kind of in that ballpark of keeping it competitive. Now, obviously, if you go against the Ravens or the Chiefs, you might need to score 45 points. But I think getting to 21 points consistently is a step in the right direction for what we've gotten out of our team the last few years.
Okay, gotcha. And the next question, what do you want to see from Denzel his first year in terms of his connection with Sam, just to feel that maybe that's the future of our offense?
I want to see a few special moments. It doesn't have to be a game-winning touchdown, but I want to see some wow plays from Mims. If he's falling out of bounds, he's snatching the ball with his big mitt and just yanking it down out of the air. I want to see confidence. If I could get 700 yards out of Mims and 5 touchdowns, that's a pretty successful rookie campaign for me. We were talking about it, me and Matt, 2 weeks ago, I believe, or maybe it was last week. My weeks are all screwed up. We were talking about how we think Sam may not have a 1,000-yard wide receiver, but he could have a lot of guys at 500 or 600 yards because he spreads the ball around to everyone. I don't think we necessarily have a stud number one. Perriman and Mims are going to be the focal points of the secondary in terms of who's what are the cornerback matchups. I think you're going to see him operate a lot of Sam meaning. I think you're going to see us operate a lot out of the tight ends. We've seen the Herndon and Griffin connections the last 2 years.
The 2 tight ends.
Yeah, the 2 tight ends I think is going to be big. I think that's why we may not have double dipped at the wide receiver position the way we wanted to in the draft, or the way a lot of us wanted to, because we have the stronger tight ends right now. And you can only have 5 weapons really out on the field at a time. You're going to have Bell at running back. You're going to have Mims. You're going to have Perriman. You're going to have Crowder. So that leaves like 1, maybe you have 2 more spots if a guy's like, I mean, you can't, right? Like it's only got to be the 5 weapons. So there's not enough. There's only one football. You can only pass it around so much. And I think the tight ends will be a big factor in that. I think having Perriman go screaming down the field, same with Mims, is going to clear out a lot of the guys between the hashes, and that could leave a lot of yardage for Sam.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. And hopefully you call in the future. Love talking to you. That was a good question. Guys, if you want your chance to win a shirt, hat, or mug from the Jets Talk store, you got like probably 10, 15 minutes before I raffle it off. Head down to the link in the description, head to my Twitch, and follow me on Twitch, and give me a little friend request over there, and then you get your chance to win a hat, shirt, or mug from the Jets Talk store. Frank, what's up, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
What's up, Ryan?
Hanging in there. How was your weekend?
Good, man. How about yours?
I can't complain. I had off the last 2 days, so I've had a little bit of a reset. I'm back to work tomorrow.
I gotcha. Hey, I just got, 2 questions to ask you. One question that we're just really overlooking is last year, first game of the season, Kair Vedvik lost us that game. Then we signed Ficken. Ficken was kind of inconsistent.
Yep.
What do you think we're going to do at kicker? Because I know we signed Brett Maher to a futures contract, but he's extremely inconsistent. Mm-hmm. He has a lot of leg, but I don't know if he's going to be the kicker of the future. And I really don't want to go another year with Ficken, especially – we have to have a good kicking game, especially that we have a young quarterback in Darnold, and we're probably going to be more of like a ground and pound team. That's the way I kind of see it.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on that? Because if we go another year with Ficken as our kicker, I'm pretty sure you're going to lose some games.
Yeah, that's just it. We lost some games last year purely because of our kicker. I want to say it was 2 off the top of my head. Definitely week 1 was a loss. I feel like we wound up missing 2 field goals in another game later on in the year that wound up costing us the game too. I don't want to get into a 4th and 10 on the 40-yard line and see Ficken stepping up to the ball to kick a field goal. That scares the crap out of me. I would like to see us bring in. So we're gonna have Ficken, we're gonna have Mayer duke it out in camp. I think we'll probably bring in another camp body. I think we'll see 3 kickers to start. And
yeah, because Gostkowski's still available, and
I've
been doing some research. Yeah, and it looks like Joe Douglas. Mm-hmm. He was kind of against last year because there was a lot of I guess the media was putting pressure on the Jets to sign a guy like Matt Bryant, and he's really he's one of these guys that he wants to get a young kicker in there because that's what Philadelphia did with Elliott.
Yeah, I think you need, if you have the young kicker and you can rely on him in your stadium, that would be ideal. Kickers are so hot and cold from year in and year out. You could have a guy that played terrible for years. Like who was the guy? Myers. That from where did he play? Jacksonville prior to the
Jason
Jets.
Myers, yeah.
Yeah, he really didn't have a great first. I want to say it was 2 years, and then year 3 was with the Jets. Had a great year with the Jets, but is he going to be that same player that you had with the Jets, or is he going to be the guy that he was prior to that? He has a
very similar skill set to Maher. Like, they're very similar in a lot of ways.
I have such a hard time trying to gauge kickers. Now, what's nice is Braden Mann, the guy that we drafted to be our punter, he could probably be our kickoff specialist. It sounds like that guy's got a hell of a leg, and he might be able to boot it out of the back of the end zone. So if you just get a guy that's comfortable kicking field goals, easier said than done, obviously, because of what happened last year. But I'm okay rolling the dice on an older guy. It doesn't have to be, some young buck. Fresh out of
because we got the money right now. We might as well just go with Gostkowski and just see what happens, man. Hey, look, we cannot lose a game. If we're down by 2 with 2 seconds left and we got to kick a 40-yard field goal and that kicker misses it, oh man, we've seen it too many times.
But Gostkowski, I think I'm pretty sure he had a hip injury.
Yeah, he did.
Might be wrong,
but
that's scary for a
he's
kicker.
healthy right now.
I like him. I think he's a really good kicker. He's a kicker I wanted last year in the offseason to replace Myers, and that just didn't work out. But now that he is available, I think you could see the Jets maybe bring him in camp. It's just, if they don't believe, the Patriots don't tend to let players go unless they know they're past their prime or they know something's like kind of up. So like I'm always leery about Patriots players, but I've always liked Gostowski, so I could...
Yeah, because you always see New England, they always get a veteran kicker. Like, Belichick has a different philosophy. Like, he likes veteran kickers in there. He really doesn't go
I don't know. He drafted Gostowski, so he had Gostowski for, 10 years or however long he's been in the league? Ever since Vinatieri left.
Yeah, but remember, when he got hurt, they went with Nick Falkin. And Kai Forbath.
Yeah, and it's... Unfortunately, most of the kickers in the league are going to be older guys. It's going to, because how many kickers are drafted each year? What did we get, 2 this past draft?
Probably 2, yeah.
Yeah, so you're not really getting the young guys in the league, because even the rookies, who's the really good kicker, or was supposed to be a really good kicker that went to Tampa? The Amayo? Arojo, yeah.
Or something.
And he wound up having a terrible, terrible season. So,
second round pick, yeah.
Yeah, just terrible. So if you can...
Mike Nugent panned out for us, though, for a short amount of time, and I don't know what happened. We got him in the second round years ago.
Yeah, well, he didn't pan out for us. He panned out for a team. He was with, the Patriots?
Yeah, but I would rather have him than Sam Ficken, man. Oh, God.
Oh, for sure. The Jets have been pretty lucky with field goal kickers over the year. I remember growing up watching John Hall. I liked watching, who was the kicker that wound up going? Doug Bryan killed me. That killed me with the 2 missed field goals. Or was it 3 missed field goals? I think it was 3 missed field goals he wound up having.
Nick Folk was my favorite. Like within the last 15 years, I thought Nick Folk did a real solid job.
Jay Feely's my guy. I love Jay Feely. Doesn't have the leg. Doesn't have the leg of Folk. Folk's got the leg.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Ryan, before I let you go, man, I just got one more question to ask you. For some reason, do you think Herndon's in Adam Gase's doghouse? Because I don't know, I get that feeling, because remember that game that he was healthy, but he was just sitting in the sideline and Gase never put him in? And he doesn't seem like a Gase guy.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what a Gase guy is, aside from the guys that have stood up for Gase, guys like a Peyton Manning, a Frank Gore, a Demaryius Thomas. If those are the kind of guys that are only going to be Gase guys, we're going to have to start drafting better. But I think
Frank Gore,
yeah, I think Herndon is the type of personality that could be questionable and may not have been brought in if Joe Douglas was here for that draft, and may not have been brought in if Gase was here for that draft. I think Herndon's got a ton of talent. I hope he's not in the doghouse, because I really like Herndon. I think he's going to be a really good tight end.
He's got tremendous upside, man. I mean, we gotta figure it out with him.
I think
we don't have that much talent on offense. I mean, if we can't if this guy can't help Sam out, then we got a big problem.
Yeah,
a massive issue.
Jets have a lot of question marks, and I just want to have way less question marks at the end of the season and know that we've answered them, and not going into hey, okay, well, who's our tight end going to be next year? Who's our running back going to be next year? I mean, I think we're going to get a running back even with the P. Ryan draft pick. I think we're going to probably bring one in next year as well, but I don't know. My biggest question mark
pleasure, man.
Thanks, dude. Thank you so much for calling in. I look forward to having you on next week again as well. Yeah. Jets Talk 24/7. I'm looking to get a jersey made. And guys, comment in the chat what you'd like to see made. I'm trying to find a website that'll do 3 letters on the back of a jersey, because I'd like to have Jets Talk and then 24 and then maybe a line and 7 or something like that. Or I could do cockpit. I could put 68 is the season the Jets won the Super Bowl. 69 was the year they won the Super Bowl, so I could do one of those 2. I don't know. Not sure what I want to do.
Jack.
Hey, Jack, what's up? Welcome to the cockpit.
What's up?
Hanging in there. What's on your mind?
All right, so I'm a Giants fan. And
all right.
I wanted to see how you felt on the Giants this season. So my first question is, do you think they have a chance at the division?
So, how do I feel about the Giants this season? I guess when you have the Dallas Cowboys in that division, they are the team that I would pick as the favorite right now. The Eagles are going to be tough, but Dallas could fall apart, and you don't know what paying Dak $34 million or whatever his franchise tag might be $30 million this year. I don't know. You don't know what's going to happen with them, but they look like on paper the better team of the bunch. The Giants have what kills me about the Giants is when they took Saquon Barkley, I really, really wanted you guys to regret passing on Sam Darnold. And to this point, I think I can say that Giants fans are pretty happy with Daniel Jones, and they're looking forward to what's going to come from that. So with that being said, I do think the NFC East is wide open across the board. I don't think there's any team that's really going to run away with that division. Who are you guys playing this year? Which divisions? Do you happen to know?
We play the AFC North and the NFC West.
Oof, wow, that's a tough schedule. That's rough.
The NFC West, so that'll be hard.
All right, so you think the winner of that division goes 10-6, or do you think it's going to be lower? A lot of times that division seems to be around 9-7, or at least that's what it feels like.
I think 10-6 would probably be good. It'll probably be the Cowboys. I still think the Giants are a year away.
Yeah, I think you guys got I think you got the safest tackle in Andrew Thomas. I don't know if he'll be the best tackle when it's all said and done. These 4 tackles were so close at the top of this draft that it's really kind of a crapshoot. But I think you got the safest of the tackles for sure. I think he's definitely not going to fail. He's going to be your left tackle of the future once Solder's gone. I think I like the way you've rebuilt that offensive line. I think with Barkley and Jones, you have 2 young guys in that backfield that will benefit from having a good offensive line in front of them. How do you guys feel about your receivers right now? Are you guys kind of wish you had more receivers? Because who do you got? You got Golden Tate. You've got Shepard.
Darius Slayton.
Yeah. What would you say your weakest point of your team is right now?
Probably linebacker or probably edge rushers, because our best edge rusher right now is Lorenzo Carter, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, look, I'm excited to watch. I was excited more when there was a little more sports going on, but I'm excited to watch the Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold debate going back and forth, because those two are forever going to be linked together, because the Giants passed on Sam Darnold, and then they took Daniel Jones the following year, and obviously both playing in New York, playing in the same stadium. There's going to be a ton of hype around these guys, and it's going to be fascinating to watch. How do defenses respond to having a year of tape on Daniel Jones? Is he going to see a slight regression? Is he going to improve because he now has a better understanding of the game? There's a lot of question marks that go into it, and what's fun about you guys got to experience what the Jets experienced 2 years ago with Sam. It's hey, we don't have any expectations for the season. We got a rookie quarterback. Let's just watch him grow. Now, year 2 for the Jets, you wanted to see the growth, and Sam wound up getting sick. Now, I hope that doesn't happen to Daniel Jones, but you guys are going to be able to evaluate Daniel Jones the same way Jets fans are going to try and evaluate Sam this year. We're both going to be looking okay, last year was almost hey, let's not count it because of everything that sort of went against the Jets last year. So how is Sam going to look this season with his second year in the offense, with these new weapons, with an offensive line? It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I think Daniel Jones can make a huge step this year because he does have an improved offensive line. And I think their third-round pick, Matt Pert, could possibly be a starter in the future. I really liked him at UConn. I think Darius Slayton could emerge as future-wise their number 1 receiver because I think he has a lot of talent. And, of course, Saquon Barkley. But, yeah, and Daniel Jones got 8 pounds of muscle, I think, this year or this offseason so far.
Hopefully it'll have him hold on to the ball a little bit better. He needs finger strength. He needs to be working on that, gripping like a stress ball or something like that.
Yeah.
As long as he holds on to the ball, the guy's got a lot of promise. It's going to be pretty fun to watch how that kind of transpires throughout his career. And I like Saquon Barkley. There's no one on the Giants that I really dislike. Odell I loved watching, but kind of had a little hate towards him because he was kind of a little bit of a douche. There's no one off the top of my head thinking of the Giants that I feel like I dislike. I mean, maybe you say Gettleman a little bit, like if you don't necessarily believe in him. Like some people don't like that he traded Odell. I don't like that he let Collins walk. I think it was the right decision maybe not to pay him, but I think letting him walk for free was probably a poor move.
I don't think Gettleman's that good in free agency with the moves and stuff. Trades, he's not very good at trades. But I do think he's a really good drafter. I've liked every draft that he's done so far.
I have enjoyed that. I will say that. Now, I don't know. Who did you guys get? What was your second? Oh, no, you had that friggin' corner, the guy that just got arrested for stealing shit at gunpoint. Yeah, I was excited about him. I thought he was going to be a good corner. And then, do you think they wind up cutting him? Is he done with the Giants entirely at this point?
I think depending on what happens to his case, I think if he's innocent, they'll keep him. But I don't know. He was honestly, as a Giants fan, he was terrible last year. Reports came out that he barely even knew the playbook.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good when you're not devoting your time and energy towards your craft. Listen, dude, I'm gonna eject you from the cockpit. I have fun talking to Giants fans and every other fan from across the football landscape. But I have a prize to give away for someone from the Jets Talk store, from the Jets Talk store. You guys have followed me on Twitch, and I will give you guys a chance to win a hat, shirt, or mug from the Jets Talk store. So, guys, give me a number 1 through 10, and then give me a number, let's say, 11 through 16. I know, right? Weird scale. But that's what we're going to do, and it's my show, and I'm going to make the rules because I can. We got a 9. We got a 7. We got a 7. 9. All right, come on. I know you guys got more numbers in there. I could see them coming. 9 and 16. All right, 9 and 16. Those are the numbers we're going with. All right, let's go through some of these guys. 2, 3, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. All right, so tonight's winner of the hat, shirt, or mug giveaway. Drum roll, please. I don't know how that sounds on the mic. You guys might hate me for drumming on the desk. It's going to be Yeeter Bogan on Twitch. Reach out to me. Send me a whisper, a little comment on there, so that way I can get your contact information so I can send you a hat, shirt, or mug from the Jets Talk store. Thank you so much for adding me as a friend and a follow on Twitch. You are awesome. All right, guys. We have exhausted our time here tonight on Jets Talk 24/7. I have Connor Rogers of Bleacher Report joining me next week on the Monday call-in show. I believe it's going to be from 8 o'clock to 8:45. I'll let you guys know in a community post as well as a thumbnail event page for it when it actually happens. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be 8 to 8:45, but we'll see. It might be a little adjusted. But it sounds like it's going to be pretty fun, and he seems like a pretty nice guy, so I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys. That is going to be it for me tonight. I think I am a little tired. I'm a little sweaty from this light. If you guys love the content that you see on this channel, please drop a like in the comment section or in this area down below this video. It means a lot. It helps the channel grow. It absolutely is, much appreciated from myself. And I love your faces. Thank you guys for tuning in. I had a fun night tonight. Make sure you tune in for next week's show. This is Jets Talk, signing off. Jets.